The story will begin in a house owned by the Gray family. Emily is a babysitter taking care of Mr. Gray's two children, a cute little boy named Mark and a beautiful girl named Marina. Before bed, they talk about something scary coming out of the closet. Their father often put dolls and chairs to comfort them, and Emily did the same so they could sleep peacefully. Both of them fell asleep, and Emily's task was done. This time, it was her moment to party. Spending time alone, playing music and enjoying the night. However, Emily heard someone's voice. She thought it was Mr. or Mrs. Gray coming home, so she quickly tidied everything up. But after waiting a while, no one came. Emily saw the garage door open without a car inside. She was puzzled. In the distance, she saw something lying in the middle of the road. It was a dead dog. There was no one around. Not wanting to think too much, Emily went back inside the house. It looked like a storm would come that night. Emily was startled because she saw something strange, a teddy bear with the words, "You're pretty," written in red ink. Emily thought it was Mark's doing. But when she checked his room, Mark was fast asleep, with a chair fallen on the floor. Not wanting to wake him in fear, Emily fixed the chair back to its original position. She briefly thought it might have been Marina, since Marina was not asleep and was still busy with her gadget. But Marina denied doing it.
You're pretty? Bad grammar. It should be a contraction. You are. It's bedtime.
Outside the bedroom, photographs were neatly arranged on the floor. If not Marina, maybe it was Mark. But Emily found another doll had moved, this time with the words, "Be mine." Not wanting to bother, she cleaned everything up again. That day, the storm seemed close. Emily felt like someone just passed by her.
Quit playing, Marina.
She then found Marina tied up with the words, "Forever." If combined, it read, "You're pretty, be mine forever." Emily panicked and decided to call the police, but the phone was cut off by someone. In that room, the TV turned on by itself, playing a terrifying recording. Someone in a black robe and a skull mask with the words, "and ever." Now Emily knew who had been writing those messages. She was terrified, and without realizing it, that figure was already behind her. Meanwhile, we are shown a cold woman named Dina, let's just call her Dee, who was startled by a man who always carried a camera. His name was Chad, and his hobby since childhood was recording everything he did. From the car came another man named Will. The three of them were friends.
Chad, screw off. Go grab a footer or something. Camera out of my face.
Dee returned to town for her college break. Dee stopped by a store where she picked up some medicine for her father.
Decided on a major?
Criminology.
Doctor there greeted her, then she quickly went home. On the other side, we see a sheriff named Rodney. Let's call him Rod. He was picking up his daily newspaper. He was puzzled by the arrival of a mysterious package box, not knowing what was inside. When Rod opened the package, he was shocked to find an object inside. What was that object? Sheriff Rod and his friend Butch went to the former Gray family home where a murder tragedy had once occurred. Butch felt chills, while Sheriff Rod handed the object to Butch, telling him to press the button on it. Suddenly, the house's garage opened. Sheriff Rod said someone had sent him the packet. Before going home, Dee decided to stop by her close friend Hattie's house. Hattie was happy to see Dee, and Dee gave her the drink she had bought earlier. Dee invited Hattie to go out that night, but Hattie had to work babysitting Sheriff Rod's kids since his wife had passed away. When Dee got home, her mother greeted her warmly. Then Dee quickly went to see her father. She was enthusiastic, telling him stories even though her father was sick. But her father didn't respond at all.
School is going well. I even have an A in chemistry. I'm doing a project right now. Gelatinous nitrocellulose. Explosive chemicals.
Her mother then approached Dee, saying her father must be proud of her. Since Dee left for college, she had felt lonely. Her mother also mentioned that Hattie had just called, asking Dee to call her back. It was urgent. After hearing that, Dee called Hattie, who asked her for a favor, to replace her job babysitting for one night since her stomach hurt so badly. To help her friend, Dee agreed. Rod told Butch that the killer had entered the gray house through the garage door, saying the remote had been missing the night of the incident. The case was old, but why was the killer resurfacing now? One of the sheriff's office employees, named Dottie, gave Sheriff Rod a small box, just like the one he had received that morning. Inside, he found a tape and a slip of paper reading, "Night of the Reaper." They played the tape. It showed a dead dog in the middle of the forest, then a man camping by a campfire. The man realized someone was out there. With his flashlight, he searched the forest and found the dog's carcass. Afraid, he returned to his tent and found a camera inside. Butch said he was scared of horror movies, but Rod realized something. This wasn't a horror movie. It was real. The man was Connor Davis.
Wait a second, are you saying this is real?
That's a video of the murder of Connor Davis. Well, next day, after an autopsy revealed he was impaired. Booze, weed. He's a good kid. Didn't buy it, Butch.
On their way back to the office, they talked about the garage key package and the video. Someone must be trying to tell them something. On the way, they met a forest ranger named Elizabeth, Liz, who had stopped her car after finding a dog in the middle of the road. The sheriff joked that it was a sign. Liz was confused. Rod explained that 2 years ago, before Connor Davis's murder, the killer left the sign of a dead dog. Liz asked about the case, since her mother wanted the forest closed after the incident. Rod and Butch returned to the forest where Connor had been killed, reconstructing the video. Police reports had said Connor died while urinating by the river. But Sheriff Rod was shocked to find another box identical to the others. They played the new tape. It showed someone pressing the garage door remote, making it open. Then Emily appeared on the tape, looking confused at the open garage. The recording turned blurry. But Sheriff Rod noticed something. The person sending these tapes wanted to show something. He had Butch rewind the video, and they spotted a van with a license plate they recognized. Chad Bolton's. But Chad didn't live on that street. The sheriff called him in. Chad got angry, saying his constitutional rights were being violated, but he was arrested with his camera. Rod and Butch suspected Chad, thinking he had filmed everything while still a minor. They interrogated him, accusing him of being a stalker and even making snuff films. Sheriff Rod believed Chad was involved in Emily Golding's murder. Hearing that, Chad's face turned pale. The sheriff checked Chad's latest footage, which showed Will and Dee. Meanwhile, Dee was now at Sheriff Rod's house, covering Hattie's babysitting job. Dee chatted with Max, Rod's son, who had been playing video games. Dee suggested they play hide and seek and go on a little house tour. She promised Max candy if he showed her around. Excited, Max grabbed Dee's hand and led her around. During the tour, Dee noticed a basement-like storage room they never used. Inside, she found a box of Abby's belongings, Rod's late wife, including a beautiful white dress. Max felt uneasy and asked Dee to leave. They passed by Rod's locked office, where he kept his weapons. On the way to Max's room, they saw a picture of Abby. Max explained that Abby had died in a car accident. To cope, he listened to recordings of her singing. In his room, Max showed Dee a walkie-talkie he used to play with his dad. After the tour, Dee gave him the candy she promised. They played hide and seek. A dog howled outside. Dee saw a shadowy figure in the dark forest, thinking it was Max, but Max wasn't hiding outside. The phone rang. It was Sheriff Rod asking how his son was. Dee said they were playing hide and seek. Meanwhile, Chad was interrogated again. The sheriff threatened him with life in prison, accusing him of being involved in Emily's and Connor Davis's deaths. Chad threatened to sue. Sheriff Rod believed Chad was just the cameraman, and that Will might be the main actor. He decided to call Will in. Sheriff Rod assigned Butch to issue Will's arrest warrant, but Butch refused because it violated protocol. Dee and Max were later seen watching an old black and white movie. Dee asked why he didn't watch color films instead. Max said it was his late mother's favorite. He eventually fell asleep comfortably on Dee's lap. Once Max was asleep, Dee went to the fridge for a drink. Outside, she heard something. It was the corpse of a dog, the first sign of the coming terror. No one was there, but doors opened and shut from the wind, making the atmosphere scarier. Sheriff Rod went to Will's home. He silently entered and found Will's room, filled with a red tone symbolizing bloodlust. He discovered another cassette similar to the others. Will returned and was arrested. At the station, Chad was released temporarily, while Will entered interrogation. Sheriff Rod played the tape he found in Will's home. To his shock, it showed the accident that killed his wife, Abby. A mysterious killer smashed her head until she died. Furious and devastated, the sheriff stormed into interrogation, pointing his gun at Will, demanding the mastermind's name. Will insisted he only delivered the tapes. Meanwhile, Dee felt she was being terrorized. She called Hattie, her friend, for company, but the call was interrupted when someone rang the doorbell. Dee promised to call Hattie back. Then she heard noises as if someone had opened the basement door. She checked and was horrified to see Abby's clothes neatly hanging. Worse, in front of Abby's photo was a newspaper about her death. In the sheriff's study, Dee also found a photo of her sister. Suddenly, a loud noise shattered the glass, terrifying her into calling 911. The killer began his hunt, recording everything as usual. But this time, things would be different. The sheriff then received a phone call about a bomb hidden in a grocery store. All officers rushed there, but it turned out to be just an empty bag. The recording of Emily's murder was played again, showing her tied up, gagged, and bound. Suddenly, the killer realized he was being recorded too. A camera was above the TV. The video then switched to Dee, who was trying to expose everything. Dee knew it all. She knew what the killer planned for tonight. She revealed the killer's real identity, Elizabeth Talbot, aka Liz. Dee had prepared everything long ago. She made sure Hattie didn't come to work today by giving her medicine for stomach pain. She had also ensured Max was safe, taken far away by Will, which explained why Will was startled when Sheriff Rod came to his house earlier. Dee uncovered Liz's tricks, moving objects, the dead dog, and staged terrors. Liz had always made others look like victims in her films, but this time she was the real target. Dee had also called 911 to empty units that Liz could have used to escape. Now, Dee challenged Liz to play hide and seek, hot and cold. Liz found Connor's note among many others Dee had planted to break her mentally. Liz grabbed a glass shard as a weapon. Then the walkie-talkie crackled. The hunt began. At the same time, Sheriff Rod's men reported the bomb threat was false. They discovered the real culprit was Dee, but with all his forces deployed, Rod had to face it alone. Dee mocked Liz the same way Liz had mocked her victims, saying she had watched her every move. Liz grew desperate, chasing Dee into the forest. There, she found mannequins dressed like herself in Grim Reaper robes. Liz mistook a flashlight for Dee, but it was just a trap. Suddenly, Dee ambushed her and shot Liz in the leg, but Liz laughed, confusing Dee. Then Chad appeared, hitting Dee from behind and saving Liz. Now it was clear. Sheriff Rod was right. Chad was the cameraman, and Liz the true killer. Chad tended to Liz's wound with whiskey. Dee revealed she had followed Liz since Abby's funeral, discovering the tapes behind Liz's fridge. Chad's dark past was exposed, an abusive, drunk father who beat him until his eyes bruised. When asked why Emily was chosen, Chad coldly said it was random. The answer enraged Dee. Chad urged Liz to flee town since Dee had alerted the police. Chad had killed an officer earlier to buy them time. But then Dee's walkie-talkie rang. It was Will. Chad had a new plan: kill all witnesses, then escape. But suddenly, the walkie exploded. This revealed why Dee studied criminology and chemical explosives. She had prepared for this day for years. Chad died instantly, blood soaking the floor. Liz raged. When she came to, she was bound hand and foot. The recording of Emily's murder played again. But this time, Liz was the one wearing the black mask and robe, ready to torture Dee. Before Liz could stab her, Sheriff Rod burst in, shooting Liz. He demanded Max's whereabouts. Dee said Max was safe, far away. Rod removed Liz's mask, stunned to see she was the killer all along, including Abby's murderer. Liz begged Rod to believe her, accusing Dee of killing Connor, Emily, and even Abby. But Rod wasn't a fool. He was the sheriff. Liz lunged with a knife, but Rod's gun was faster. Rod realized Dee had sent all the tapes, so he would see the truth himself and bring justice. He carried the injured Dee out. Dee, however, refused to let Liz and Chad destroy everything. She told Rod they would simply be reported missing in the forest. Days later, investigators searched Liz's house. They found Chad's decapitated body and the secret room behind her fridge. The story ended there. Sheriff Rod and Dee would bury this secret deep inside forever.